gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. The National Bank Open is turning the courts into a family playground today, and the city just named the Olympic Games and a beloved park historic sites. Expect heavy traffic with road closures, plus a taste of poutine at the Old Port. Over to you, Ryan.
CF Montreal rallied in the second half to earn a point, drawing 2-2 with New England Revolution on Saturday.
The match ended level after Montreal erased a 2-goal deficit, securing the draw against the Revolution in the final minutes.
Goaltender Jacob Dobish returned to Montreal this season, stating his championship ambitions and singular focus for the coming years.
All right, let's get into it. The top headlines for today include the National Bank Open Family Weekend and local updates. Good morning, Montreal. Yesterday, the National Bank Open held a family-focused weekend in Montreal, inviting children to try tennis and featuring Félix Auger-Aliassime. Organizers say the event aims to inspire the next generation. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
At the Jean Talon Stadium, the National Bank Open turned its courts into a playground for families on August 1st. Kids gathered around pop-up stations where they could swing a racket for the first time, while coaches demonstrated basic forehands and serves. A special appearance by Félix Auger-Aliassime drew cheers as he handed out signed balls and offered quick tips. Organizers set up inflatable nets, mini matches, and a photo booth to keep the atmosphere lively. Over 200 families toured the venue, trying drills designed for beginners. The weekend forms part of the tournament's broader effort to grow tennis among Montreal's youth, linking the professional event with community participation. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Yesterday, the Quebec government officially recognized the Montreal Olympic Games and a downtown city park as historic event and historic site, marking the 50-year anniversary of the 1976 Summer Games. The designation places the former Olympic venues and the park on the province's heritage register, ensuring preservation of the structures and green space that hosted athletes and crowds half a century ago. Officials said the move honors the legacy of the Games and highlights the lasting impact on the city's cultural and sporting landscape. The historic event status applies to the Olympic competitions themselves, while the historic site label protects the park that served as a gathering place during the festivities. The province hopes the recognition will encourage continued appreciation of the city's Olympic history for residents and visitors alike and future generations.
At 4 a.m. this morning, a couple in Notre-Dame-de-Grâce opened the doors to a new weekly meetup in their courtyard, inviting anyone nearby to share coffee, conversation, and a sense of belonging. The neighbors gathered on a modest patio, exchanging names and stories, while the hosts explained they started the gatherings after feeling increasingly disconnected from their own block. Organizers said the goal is simple: create a regular space where residents can meet, ask for help, and build friendships without formal agenda. City officials have noted that similar neighborhood circles are sprouting across the island as a response to rising social isolation, offering a grassroots way to strengthen local ties. The meetup will continue each week, with plans to rotate locations within Notre-Dame-de-Grâce to keep the momentum alive. All ages are welcome, and participants often bring homemade pastries or local news to share.
Montreal health officials warn after a resident was bitten by a tick returning from a picnic in La Fontaine Park, raising concerns over disease transmission in the area. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
Back from a sunny family picnic in La Fontaine Park, a local resident felt a sharp pinch on his leg as he walked toward the park's main entrance. A quick inspection revealed a lone tick clinging to his skin, prompting an immediate trip to a nearby clinic. Medical staff removed the parasite and advised a series of follow-up tests to rule out any transmission of Lyme disease or other tick-borne illnesses. Health officials have reminded the public that the city's green spaces see a rise in tick activity each summer, and they urge anyone spending time in wooded or grassy areas to perform thorough body checks after outings. The resident is now recovering at home and will monitor his health over the coming weeks. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, La Fontaine.
The Quebec French voice cast of The Simpsons is back in studios across the city, recording new episodes this summer. After a period of uncertainty that left the beloved French-Canadian version teetering on the brink of disappearance, production has been revived and is now underway in Montreal. The revival means the familiar accents and jokes will continue to reach households across Quebec, preserving a cultural staple that has entertained generations. Producers say the decision to bring the dub back reflects strong audience demand and a commitment to keep the series part of the province's media landscape. Fans can expect fresh episodes to roll out later this year, with the ongoing sessions promising the same sharp humor that made the show a long-standing favorite. The team, comprised of veteran actors from Quebec's dubbing community, gathers at a downtown studio near the Bell Centre, keeping the city's creative pulse alive. Later, we'll break down CF Montreal rallies to draw with Revolution and see how that impacts our playoff picture. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Good morning, Montreals. CF Montreal turned a one-goal deficit into a point-sharing finish yesterday at Saputo Stadium. The Canadian side fell behind early to New England Revolution, but a pair of second-half strikes erased the gap and secured a 2-2 draw. The first comeback goal arrived in the 54th minute, followed by a decisive tally in the 77th. Both goals were set up by quick passing through the midfield and left the Revolution scrambling for an equalizer in the closing minutes. Coach Wilfried Henry expressed satisfaction with the team's resilience, noting the performance bodes well for the remaining fixtures. The draw adds 1 point to CF Montreal's league tally while leaving the Revolution with a single point from the encounter. The contest marked the 9th MLS meeting between the two clubs this season, with both teams seeking to climb the Eastern Conference table.
Ontario's Duncan Chan stunned a world top 100 player at the National Bank Open in Montreal on August 1, 2026. The upset marks a major milestone for the Canadian hopeful. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
On August 1st, the National Bank Open saw a surprising turn on the center court, as rising Canadian Duncan Chan toppled a world-ranked opponent inside the top 100. The match, played under Montreal's summer heat, lasted just under 2 hours, with Chan breaking serve early in the second set and never looking back. Spectators erupted as he sealed the victory, marking his first win over a player of that caliber in an ATP event. The upset adds a fresh storyline to this year's tournament, already packed with big names and high-stakes matches, and gives Chan a valuable boost in ranking points as the season heads toward its final stretch ahead. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Callers to Quebec's 811 health advice line are now facing record long wait times, officials said today. InfoSanté, the provincial service that fields health questions from residents, reported that average hold periods have climbed to unprecedented levels, leaving many callers on hold for several minutes before reaching a nurse. The Quebec Ministry of Health acknowledged the surge, attributing it to a recent spike in seasonal illnesses and increased demand for telehealth guidance. Health officials warned that the backlog could affect timely advice for non-emergency concerns, urging patients with urgent symptoms to seek immediate care at emergency departments. InfoSanté officials said they are working to augment staffing and explore additional digital tools to relieve pressure on the phone network. The ministry promised regular updates as it addresses the strain on the service.
Yesterday evening, Quebec cyclist Alexis Galarneau earned a place in the main field of the Omnium Bank National, the city's premier track cycling meet. His performance secured him one of 4 Canadian spots on the primary roster, joining 3 fellow riders who also qualified. The Omnium, held at the local velodrome, draws top talent from across North America and serves as a key stepping stone toward international competition. Galarneau's qualification reflects his recent progress on the national circuit and adds momentum as the season heads toward the World Championships later this year. Fans can look forward to seeing the Canadian quartet compete in the upcoming heats, with the event scheduled to run through the weekend at the Montreal venue. Ticket holders will enjoy the fast-paced races on the banked wooden track, while the city's cycling fans gather along the stands for the excitement.
Food inflation in Quebec surged ahead of the rest of Canada this past month, outpacing national grocery price gains and tightening household budgets across the province. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
At the bustling St. Henry Market, shoppers are scanning price tags that have crept up noticeably over the past month, a shift that mirrors the province's sharp rise in food inflation. While Canadians nationwide are seeing grocery costs climb, the pace in Quebec is outpacing the rest of the country, leaving families to stretch their budgets further for everyday staples. Local vendors report that even staple items like bread and milk are now marked at higher prices than they were just weeks ago. The trend adds pressure to households already feeling the pinch of broader economic uncertainty as the province grapples with a steeper climb than its neighbors. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what today holds for our city.
Southwest jet stream, punching through a steady ridge fuels today's late-day pulse of rain over Montreal. On this date, the all-time high reached 31.4 degrees in 2024, a spike that rode the tail end of a record-breaking heat wave across the province. The all-time low, 11.4 degrees set in 2023, came during an early autumn cold snap that pushed Arctic air deep into the corridor. By contrast, the climate normal high sits near 22 degrees and the normal low around 15 degrees, underscoring how today's temperatures will sit comfortably between those historic extremes. Turning to the live radar, the screen is clear across the southern Quebec basin. A band of moderate reflectivity is marching eastward from the Ontario border, driven by the southwest jet that will steer it into Montreal by about 3 in the afternoon. The heaviest cores deepen as the band approaches 10 at night, then dissipate as the flow accelerates eastward. No other cells are visible, confirming a quiet morning before the late-day pulse arrives. At 7 this morning, Montreal is under partly cloudy skies with a temperature of 21 degrees. Humidity sits at 92%, dew point 20 degrees, and an east breeze of 4 kilometers per hour. Pressure is near average and steady, while the jet stream rides overhead from the southwest at 108 kilometers per hour, anchoring a ridge that keeps the air warm. Temperatures rise to a high of 28 degrees before falling to 20 at night. Light rain arrives around 3 in the afternoon, peaks near 10 at night, and then clears. UV index 5. Winds stay light, maxing around 13 kilometers per hour from the south. A rainfall warning persists for the Saint Adèle and Saint Sauveur area. The ridge eases after sunset, leaving the evening rain as the only notable shift before a dry night. Sunday brings a high of 26 degrees and a low of 21, but the sky stays overcast with a 70% chance of rain, so expect showers through the afternoon. Monday's high drops to 23 degrees while the low falls to 17. Despite clear skies, a 70% rain risk persists, indicating a moisture plume from the previous system. Tuesday steadies at a high of 26 and a low of 17 under clear conditions, offering a brief dry spell. Wednesday turns warmer, reaching 28 at the peak and 18 at night, again clear. Thursday moderates to a high of 25 and a low of 20, overcast with a 20% chance of rain, marking the end of the wet stretch. The pattern reflects a retreating ridge and a trough that will shift east. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunrise is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic snarls from road closures, a look at the Highland Games, and the Habs' Stanley Cup chase. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Major bridge work on the Honoré-Mercier Bridge remains closed, forcing all traffic between Montreal and Conowick onto the Champlain Bridge and causing heavy delays on the Trans-Canada Highway. Eastbound Autoroute 40 at Boulevard de l'Acadie is also shut, diverting commuters onto Boulevard St. Laurent and the Descaries Expressway. In the downtown core, Rue Saint-Urbain over Autoroute Ville-Marie is blocked, adding backups along Rue Sherbrooke and Rue Saint-Denis. A minor closure on Boulevard Lacordaire over Autoroute 40, and a service lane shut down near Autoroute 13 are creating localized slowdowns but remain passable. On the transit side, the Green Line is out of service between Berry-UQAM and Papineau after a signal failure, so riders must use the Orange Line or buses along St. Laurent. The Orange Line sees short delays between Montmorency and Côte-Vertu. Exo's Candiac Line is cancelled for the morning, and the Vaudreuil-St. Catherine Line runs about 15 minutes late. Expect these conditions to ease by mid-afternoon as crews work through the closures.
Montreal Highland Games and Festival kicks off today at the Douglas Hospital grounds in Verdun, bringing Scottish sports, treats and culture to the streets. Perfect for families looking for a lively outdoor celebration. At the Mason Symphonique in Place des Arts, a classical concert of Brahms, Mendelssohn and new creations offers a soothing blend of beloved masters and fresh voices. Yannick Nazet-Seguin conducts Macbeth in the Amphitheatre Fernand Lindsay, delivering a powerful operatic twist on Shakespeare's tragedy for theater fans. Comedy lovers can head to Deli Planet for the Montreal Comedy Show, where top Canadian comics serve up quick-witted laughs. Looking ahead, the 3-day Alsonic EDM Festival arrives next week on Parc Jean-Drapeau, promising international electronic beats to keep the summer vibe alive, while Ashiga continues to pulse across the park. Ranby fans can also look forward to Daniel Caesar at the Bell Centre later this week, a chance to hear his soulful hits live. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Montreal sports never sleeps. 3 stories worth your Sunday morning. Jacob Dobish is back in Montreal, and he is not mincing words. Fresh off a new 4-year deal, the Canadiens goaltender declared his entire focus is winning the Stanley Cup. That kind of commitment from between the pipes tells you everything about where this front office sees its window opening. CF Montreal showed some serious backbone on Saturday. Down 2 goals at the half against New England, they clawed all the way back. Prince Usu delivered the equalizer in the 59th minute to seal a 2-2 draw with the Revolution. A point earned the hard way still counts. The Canadiens' front office is already working the long game. Analysts have identified 3 prospects Montreal could target at the 2027 NHL draft. 1 year out, the scouting board is taking shape, and for a team building toward a cup run, draft capital is still central to the plan.
Le Grand Poutine Fest, set against the historic waterfront of the Old Port, is turning the neighborhood into a celebration of Quebec's signature comfort food. Over the weekend, the festival showcases more than 20 gourmet poutine creations, from truffle-infused gravy to vegan cheese curds, alongside live local musicians and family-friendly games. Vendors and chefs from across the province gather to experiment, drawing food lovers who spill onto the cobblestones and fill the nearby cafes. The buzz revives the area's summer vibe, supporting small producers and boosting foot traffic for nearby boutiques. It's a reminder that Montreal's spirit lives in the flavors we share, and that a simple dish can bring the whole city together. Next, we examine the roadside crosses dotting Quebec's highways, a stark safety reminder. We will be right back.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMNA for the local Sunset Montreal's evening newscast.
Good morning, Montreals. Wooden crosses line Quebec's highways, marking memorial sites and serving travelers. Maintenance is coordinated by local volunteers and municipalities. Jean-Christophe Lawrence has the full story.
Wooden crosses line the shoulders of Quebec's highways, each one marking a spot where a driver or passenger lost their life. Families place them shortly after a crash, often adding a candle or a note, turning a simple timber into a personal tribute. Over time, the crosses become part of the landscape, a silent reminder to passing motorists. Maintenance falls to a mix of relatives, community volunteers, and in some regions, municipal crews who clear debris and replace weather-worn wood. A modest network of caretakers keeps the markers upright and legible, ensuring the memorials remain visible throughout the harsh winter months. You'll find them from the busy corridors around Montreal to the remote stretches of the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean region, each one blending into the scenery while holding a story. Denis Larivière, GMNA News, Montreal.
Quebec's Environment Ministry has postponed the province-wide flood zone map release, originally set for August 1, 2026, after mayors urged earlier publication. Maps haven't been updated since 2019. Philippe Nadeau has the full story.
The province's Environment Ministry has pushed back the release of its long-awaited flood zone maps, now set for a later date after mayors from the Greater Montreal region pressed for an earlier rollout. The updated maps, slated for August 1, 2026, would be the first revision since 2019, ending an 8-year gap in official flood risk data. Officials say the delay comes as climate-related flooding has become more frequent across Quebec, putting residents at greater risk. The ministry said it will continue working with municipal leaders to finalize the new boundaries and will announce a new publication timeline in the coming weeks. The revised charts will eventually cover every municipality in Quebec, providing a uniform reference for insurance, planning, and emergency response. Philippe Nadeau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local Sunrise. Tonight's highlight, seeing the National Bank open Spark Youth Tennis across the city, reminds us how vibrant our community can be. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Stay curious, stay connected, and have a wonderful night.